Hello everybody, welcome to Yoga Fit, and today we're going to be looking at core. So core is a really important part of our body, as you already probably know. But what's interesting is, what do we know the core is? So if you think of core, what do you think of? Most of us think that it's just kind of the abdominals and the front of the belly, but in fact the core is the whole barrel of your abdomen, really, from your chest down, pelvis up. And the core constitutes a number of different things, of course, your organs and whatnot, but functionally for muscles and for core stability, we have the rectus abdominis, which we just mentioned, but we also have the obliques, the transverse abdominals, which are lower down, the lats, which are under here and go to the back and wrap around the ribs, and also the well, we won't mention this where it is, but the diaphragm. And the diaphragm is a really important core muscle, which kind of gets overlooked as a core muscle, but not in yoga. In any case, the diaphragm is a muscle, but it's also an organ. So it's doing a lot of different things in our body. It's a pretty amazing entity in and of itself. It kind of looks like a jellyfish upside down, so it's got this sort of upside down umbrella look to it, with the spinal cord and the vagal, the polyvagal nerve going right through the middle of it. And that's what innervates it. That's why you can access the diaphragm if you get injured in your quad, and you can still breathe, ideally. If not, you've probably damaged part of that polyvagal nerve, so or gone up into the brainstem. So anyways, the core and the diaphragm are really closely connected, and part of what we'll be doing today is a couple different breathing techniques that really help you to access the diaphragm and to develop it, because it's important for you to develop that to get some core stability. And also, we're going to be looking at the 6 movements of the spine in a moment, and those are also really integral to developing core, because the 6 movements of the spine you can do, you can do them for the whole body, lateral flexion, all that kind of stuff. But the key here is that if you don't have any movement below your neck, you can still do them with your head, and you can also, if you don't even have that movement, you could do them with your tongue. So you can kind of stimulate core muscles all the way up the chain, if you will. So let's take a look at what the tools we'll need for today will be. We'll need a block. Ideally, if you have a block, I have a cover on my yoga block, so underneath here is a yoga block, because we'll be using it later on to slide on the table. That's why I like a cover on it. But for today's workout, we won't need a cover on it. So if you just have a bolster or a rolled up towel, that's fine, and that will be on your lap. If it's firm surface, that's even better. So something like a large, I don't know, even an iPad actually on a bolster or on a towel would be good. The firmer the better. So that'll be later on in the second half. And then we're going to be doing a couple of different breathing techniques in the first half, and that you will need your rolled up towel on your mat or on your lap, which I have on my lap already, and also a strap. Now a strap could be either a scarf tied up or a belt or whatever, and you want to tie it in about the same width as your shoulders. So it's pretty much the same width as my shoulders. And that's about that. So for the breathing, yoga is very much a technique of combining breath, movement, consciousness, intention, and ideally collectivity, or connectivity, which could be collecting up the bandhas. And the bandhas are kind of this ideological part of our body that's kind of like a web that allows things to move up in the body. And that happens in circulation by the way of valves. So valves, are part of how blood moves back up to the heart from the legs. And of course, when you're paralyzed, your valves and your that area, because you're not pumping that blood and working it the same way, we can get low blood pressure and those edema, that type of stuff. However, if you do some of these breathing exercises, you will improve your circulation. And then getting back to this bandha idea, the bandha is a way to kind of close off the energy from moving down or moving up. And those valves are basically the pelvic basin. A lot of women will relate to this if they've had a baby, or maybe even if they want to kind of develop more integrity to that area. And they do that usually doing a Kegel exercise, which is basically kind of tightening the perineal muscles and pulling up. And that action is really important for the core. And so we will think about that action by squeezing kind of the anus and the abdominal, or sorry, the anus and the perineal region, and just squeezing and then releasing, and then squeezing and releasing. And that's called in yoga a bandha. And I will be cueing you to do a bandha here and there throughout the practice today. In addition, I'm going to be cueing you to do these 6 movements of the spine. So let's take a look at those. So flexion is when we're rounding the spine on the back body. Extension is when we're extending the body in the front and compressing it at the back. Lateral extension on my right side is taking the body over to the right, so I wouldn't come forward here. I'm going to be right over my spine, and then I would be going over to the left in a lateral. And ideally that hand and that arm are right over the spine, not forward. So that would be lateral extension and lateral flexion. And then we have then twisting the spine, so taking the body and rotating it. Now, Megan and I have lots of things we agree on, and one of them is alignment and integrity of movement. And why we learn the 6 movements of the spine and why I go over this with you over and over is because when you have integrity in the movement, you have a better result. And even, this has actually been researched and even proven, even if your intention is 100% there, and you really, really, really visualize and imagine the movement, the whole movement, that actually stimulates the body and gives you just as good a workout if you did the whole movement. So keep in mind that you can visualize these movements and you can do them to the full extent in your mind, and experience the movement in a more micro movement in your body. So I will always give adaptations, but if I don't, then you can kind of go, okay, what would be the smallest part of that movement that she's getting at, and what part of the spine or what movement is it? Flexion, extension, lateral twisting, or spinal twist. So those 6 movements we'll be looking at and doing kind of in various different ways throughout the practice. So the first breath I'm going to teach you today is called the Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi. And Ujjayi in the language of yoga, which is Sanskrit, means victorious or exalted. And the reason they call it that is twofold, really, is because it gives you a really good feeling when you have, I think, a grounded and a very empowered breath. And secondly, it develops the nervous system stability. So it actually helps the nervous system to move out of fight or flight and into a more responsive parasympathetic mode. So you can do it, while you're practicing, of course, but you could also do it when you're going to sleep at night to help you kind of reset and come down to a nice quiet rhythm with your breath. The best way to think about the Ujjayi breath is that it's a circulation of your breath at the back of your throat. And to do that, you kind of want to be like a frog and make your throat a bit constricted and get the agadhas kind of activated so that you can draw the breath like almost through a straw to the back of the throat. The way we learn this breath ideally and sort of initially is to do it thinking that you're going to be fogging up your bathroom mirror, and you would have your mouth open to do that, and you would go like this. So let's all try that. And as you're doing that, I'm sure you can feel there's a bit of a swirl as you go and make a sound. So you want to kind of keep that sound and you want to keep that swirl, but you want to ideally close your mouth. So yoga, usually our mouth is closed when we're breathing, unless it's a different breathing technique. So when we do that with the mouth closed, you may find it easier to do it halfway through to start off with. So go like this. Again. One more time. That's the Ujjayi breath. So as best you can, practice that breath. And always when you're doing breathing work and focused breathing work, you want to remember not to strain and to just go at your own pace. The next breath I'm going to be teaching you is the fire breath. And the fire breath is also called the Kapalabhati breath. And this means the breath of fire, the breath of life, really. So essentially the Kapalabhati breath is a cleansing breath, and it also kind of categorizes as an energizing breath and a sort of a stimulating breath. So to do the Kapalabhati breath, the best thing to think of is that you're dribbling a ball and a basketball, say, and it's coming back to you. And the ball is like your breath. So you're going to be focusing predominantly on the exhale in this Kapalabhati breath and letting the inhale kind of rebound like the ball does off the floor back to you. So don't focus on the inhale, focus mostly on the exhale. And the idea is to get the exhale short, sharp, and quick in this process. And so I will do a demonstration. So what I do is I like to come, and by the way, I also, in addition to the strap that I have around my lap that I'm going to use for yoga, I have a strap around my legs because I like to keep my legs, my femurs from rotating outward, especially when we do this kind of stuff. So I'm going to come forward, hands just on the seat beside the knees. And I'm going to lift the heart and bring the spine into the body. Do a couple Ujjayi breaths just to get yourself deepened and connected and centered. And then Kapalabhati. Okay, so you can see there's a bit of a pumping action, like a bouncing of a ball. I'm not forcing it, I'm not straining. You may notice that my face is a little bit puckered. And I'm really letting that breath kind of come and go, inhale, exhale, in a forced way, but not forced in a negative way, not violently, but just really working it. So let's try that together. So come forward, away from the back of your chair. Bring yourself into a kind of lifted heart, broadened collarbones. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. And good. Just try a couple to start off with. I can go up to 50 or so of these now, but it took me a long time to work up to that. So it'll take you a while to get the diaphragm in shape for that. So again, we come forward, lift the heart, drop the shoulder blades down the spine, broaden the collarbones, and good, and then relax. So those are the three breaths actually the third breath is called the puffer breath. Now this breath is actually a breath that I've borrowed from Emily Conrad, who was the founder and the originator of the Continuum movement, which is a great thing to look at if you're interested in movement and sound. Anyways, she combines breath, movement, and sound. And this breath, she didn't call it the puffer breath, I do, because I'm kind of puffing my way back up. So I'm using again the diaphragm. It's very similar to Kabbalah Bhakti breath, except that it's not through the nose. So that's really important distinction. And it's through the mouth. And the way this one goes is kind of similar. You're going to maybe come forward and extend into the spine a little bit and feel that kind of broadening of the shoulders and lifting of the heart. Then you're going to, again, kind of pucker your lips, and you're going to go so I'm breathing in and out through my mouth. It's not ideal in terms of the nervous system because it's very stimulating, but where you'll use that breath, and if you want to use that breath, you could use it sort of when we do other workout things like coming up from a push-up. So I'm not really using my hands to do that. It's really the breath. So that's the diaphragm doing that work right there. Okay, so those are the 3 breaths, the 6 movements of the spine. Hi everybody, welcome to the core workout. All right, so we're going to start off with the breathing pieces for this, and we'll begin with the Ujjayi breath. So let's together go into 3 sets of 5 Ujjayi breaths. Let's start off with the inhale and the exhale. Fogging up the bathroom mirror, and do that again. Good, one more time. And now close your mouth on the exhale. Excellent. That is our Ujjayi breath. The next breath is our Kabbalah Bhakti, or our fire breath. And again, you want to come forward, kind of bring your spine away from the back of the chair, bring the spine into the body, broaden collarbones, lift the heart, keep the elbows or the flippers tucked into your rib cage, and then 5 Kabbalah Bhakti breaths. Let's do that again. Good, and one more time. Excellent. If you want to do the last 2, lifting up, get your hands beside you, brakes on, and on 3, go up and down. Good, and take a moment. Good, and then go up, elbows in, and down. Excellent. Okay, and the last breath is what I haven't really gone over too much, and it's the puffer breath. And we will do that when we come up from the forward fold position. So just so you remember, just bring your spine into your body, come away from the back of the chair if that's available, and think of this as pumping. Okay, and those are our 3 breaths that we're going to be using in this practice, and we've already done the Kabbalah Bhakti piece. All right, so the Ujjayi breath will continue with us, and we will be using that puffer breath when we need to come back up from our lap and do an adjustment of some sort that way. And here we go into the 6 movements of the spine. Now, I really think this is important because the spine is such a big integral piece of the core of your body. And there's many reasons why I think so. All of your muscles that go up and down the spine mostly attached to the other core muscles. But the other thing is that the biggest piece of this is the diaphragm, which attaches just below the solar plexus at the lumbar plexus in the spine. And it's not only a breathing muscle, but it's actually a core stabilizer. So the more you can work and kind of figure out how to strengthen the diaphragm through these breaths and through these types of different yoga techniques, the better off you'll be in terms of being able to kind of develop some core stability. So let's go into the first two movements of the spine. So we have flexion, so let's all just bring our chin to our chest. Slowly, and if the chin can touch, great. If not, that's fine. Don't fall forward. This is just the chin going here. And then come back up. Good. And then we go into extension, which is basically looking up or maybe taking the head back and maybe the bottom teeth above the top teeth. And breathing. And relax the shoulders. And come forward. And we'll do that again. Just the chin to the chest. Try and keep the shoulders back. Try and get that arc really happening at the top of your spine. That rounding. Good. And then inhale up. And then into extension. And bottom teeth over top. And extend. Relax the shoulders. And back to midline. The last two, we're going to come forward. So ideally you've got your towel, rolled up towel on your lap. We're going to pull ourselves into this position and then pull the belly back toward the back of the chair before we round, 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 round. And keep the back round and just hold it here, chin to chest. And then we'll use the puffer breath to come back up. Okay, and that's the last one. That's the second to the last one. We'll do the extension. And if you want, you could bring your arms up and extend here and kind of drive them toward the back wall, keeping the shoulder blades down, keeping the navel plugged back toward the spine. And exhale, come out, and then go forward again. Set yourself up so that you're forward away from the back of the chair, and then round the chin to the chest, and then keep rounding. In this case, the elbows can come out, and it's like you're making a big bow with the body. And then use your puffer breath to come back up. Great. Good. And last extension piece. 5 breaths here. Each breath, see if you can spread the inner elbows open more, drop the shoulder blades down more, maybe lift the heart more, pull the navel in more, and breathe a little bit deeper. And exhale, release. And now we're going to go into the twists. Actually, I beg your pardon, we'll go into the lateral flexion and extension. So we'll start off by bringing the left arm onto the armrest or onto the wheel, and then we'll inhale the right arm up, and we're going to laterally bend over the left arm and hip. So ideally you don't bring your torso forward here. You're going to kind of stay in an upright spine position. You could take your left ear towards your left shoulder. I need to bring my left hand down a bit to get really into my lats, and then I can really get a stretch there. Now if your upper arm is tired, you could just put your hand on your head, or if it doesn't make it all the way up, then just use it wherever it is, because the elbow will just be fine. And we keep going if we have it, and then inhale up and switch sides. So right hand on your right hub or right tire or armrest and over. Now my left arm will go so far here and then plunk onto my head it goes, and I still get really deep into the lats on that side. I'm really leaning onto my right elbow here, on this side especially. Breathing, Ujjayi breaths. Good, and then back up. 2 more. Inhale up, over to the left. Breathe, yeah. Exhale, belly back to spine. Inhale, pull up through your right arm, place it on the opposite tire, the right wheel, and then bring the left arm up and come over to the left side. Keep yourself over your spine, not forward or back of it. Breathe. Doing great. Breathing. Drop the right shoulder down. I say to myself, and then inhale back up one more time and over to the left. Left hand on the tire or armrest or somewhere for stability. And over we go. Breathe. Nice. And full rich breath. Good. Very well done. Inhale. Come on back up. Good. And replace the hands back onto your tires. And now we're going to go into the twist. So we will be going into a deeper twist in a minute, and we'll use the 2 twists to get into our core. So in any case, inhale the right arm up, exhale the right hand to the outside of the left bent knee. Pull yourself into your spine by really drawing the spine into the body, drawing the navel back and kind of leaning forward. Broaden your collarbones, lift your heart as you begin to rotate your navel toward the back left elbow or the back wall, back of your chair. Shoulders and collarbones stay broad and open. Drive around with your navel. Feel this in your spine mostly. Breathe. Exhale, release. And we'll go to the opposite side. So we'll inhale the left arm up, take it to the outside of the right bent knee. Really use that back of that left arm or wherever it is. If that's not accessible to you, you can have it on your lap. But see if you can push down into the left arm as you lift the heart and rotate the navel to the right arm side. Breathing. 3 more breaths, ujjayi breaths. Try and feel that breath circulating at the back of your throat. And exhale, release, and come over to the opposite side. Last one. Inhale up, exhale, taking the right palm to the outside of the left bent knee, and then rotating around to the left, dropping the shoulders down away from the ears, lifting the heart, feeling like your back armpits sag downward and your front armpits open. Navel moves back to spine with that exhale. Inhale, come on back to your midline for the last side. Good, so grab your flat surface, either a block or a book of some sort, maybe wrapped in a towel, and I'm just going to grab mine here. Oops. And I did want to say one thing about the core body, and it's really accessible to most of us, and so I really encourage you to kind of think about, very simple things that can get at the core. And one of those simple things is something that women do or have done for centuries maybe, and that's doing a Kegel and kind of tightening the perineal muscle at the bottom and base of the pelvis. Now, we're going to get into that at the end of this session, part 3, but this is a really good practice, and you kind of start that by really feeling like you can pull the navel into your body back towards your spine. So we're ready now to go into that twist that I promised. This is a bit of a deeper twist, so we're going to start off just really stabilizing, maybe put on your brake or one of them, and then that block is right flat on your lap. Make sure it's good and flat, and then bringing your right elbow onto the block and leaning into the block and kind of pulling your spine into the body, and then swinging your left hand over and onto the right hand. Now they're going to make a diamond, and I'm going to go deep into this twist as I lean forward and attempt to look through the eye of the diamond. And as I'm deepening my twist, I'm really breathing my ujjayi breath. And letting that really deepen this really beautiful lower back twist. Hard to get into the lower back muscles sometimes. And then inhale, come on out. Woo, that's a nice one, hey? And then we'll go to the other side. So bringing the left arm up, placing the left elbow to the center of that block on your lap, kind of bringing yourself into your spine first and doing a bit of the twist here before you place your hands together. The danger in this twist is that you fall out to the back, and you don't really want to do that because you won't get into those muscles. So stay out of it. Don't go in too far, in other words, if you start to feel yourself going over this way. So come back into your midline and make sure that you're kind of really staying above your pelvis and doing a twist from the lower back, not from the upper body, which would happen in that last case. Good, breathing, and then inhale. Use your arms to pull you and your breath back out. Good. Next, the last two. Inhale up, taking the right elbow to the center of that block, giving a little pull of the spine into the body, lifting the heart, Bringing the left arm over and placing it on the right hand. Oops, I just got a spasm there. And then really deepening into this. Breathe. That's what I do for my spasms. Deepening into this concept of the eye of the diamond, kind of pulling you through the middle of your elbows. Good. And really fighting, not leaning back. And then inhale to come on back up. That's definitely my weaker side. And then we all have one. Inhale the left arm up and take it over to the center of the block. Placing the hands together once you get your spine forward and your navel beginning to do the twist. Bringing the right hand to place on the left. And then turning your body from the base of the spine to begin to look through the eye of the diamond. Push into your hands. It'll help you with your stability and also engage the core more. Good. Breathing your Ujjayi breath. Each exhale, feeling like your navel is kind of your anchor, pulling you back to the base of the chair, back of the chair. Good. And then inhale, come on back up. Woo! And that is great. So those are our first core exercises, or postures really. And I hope you enjoyed them, and we will catch you at the end of Megan's session.